After going over several evidence, a lot of evidence leads up to Mr. Gatos of the one killing Mr. Mandalay. The reason I believe that Mr. Gatos was the one that did it was because many teachers heard him in the meeting room with Mr. Mandalay, and they're arguing and talking about money. And Mr. Gatos seemed to get really mad over it. While Mr. Gatos says he's never been in close proximity of him, he's never talked to him, or has never had any encounters of him, as well as never asked him for money. And several evidence also proves that it was Mr. Gatos, because as you can see in the picture right here, that there's a line going through it. And as you can see in this footprint, I know it's very hard to tell, but there is in fact 2 lines coming through it. And as well as we have fingerprint documents of him, they also match the can and bottle that was left at the crime scene. As well as the inches matched to the inches at the crime scene. There is 11 inches from top to bottom, and in the crime scene it's as well 11 inches from the top to bottom. The way we came to the conclusion is we interviewed many people. The first person we interviewed was Miss Rob. Miss Rob told us many evidence leading towards the case. The first thing she told us was how she got to school, and she went to Mr. Moore's room, that she called the ambulance, and then from there on, we're interviewing her about it. Then we interviewed Miss Levante. She was the one that hired him, and she went through many steps and was talking to him. As well, we interviewed Miss Levante. She told us many facts about Mr. Mandalay. Some of them was that he was a new hire, and how Miss Rob called her about the ambulance. She escorted the ambulance to his room. Then we went over to Mr. Gatos. Mr. Gatos said he had no encounter with Mr. Mandalay. He's never talked to him or asked him for money, as I said earlier. Mr. Park said he had little to no connection with him, but the only thing he did hear was that Mr. Gatos and Mr. Mandalay were arguing in the meeting room about as well, we interviewed Mr. Park. He had little to no connection towards Mr. Mandalay. He never asked him for money or any favors, but he did overhear Mr. Gatos and Mr. Mandalay arguing in the staff room, and he didn't really know what it was about, but he knew it had to do with money. During this investigation, there were many troubles upon Mr. Mandalay, as he did ask one of the fellow teachers for a big loan, and he paid it back to her in double. There was also many troubles due to teachers not really wanting to talk, so we had to serve them with a warrant/chupane. From the interviews we got, we only wanted to forward on this investigation with a few certain people. The people were Mr. Moore, Mr. Gatos, and Miss Rob. We got Mr. Gatos' footprint, as well as Mr. Morris. As well as we got Mr. Gatos, Mr. Moore, and Miss Rob's fingerprint. From this, we examined what was on the Coke bottle, and from then on, we examined their fingerprints with a microscope. We found out that Mr. Gatos was the actual one that was on the Coke can in the crime scene. She never seen. We're just talking about you. We're saying what you said about Mr. Mandalay. We might have to accuse you a little later.
Keep on going.
Dang it.
We'll just cut it.
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry,
Okay,
I'm literally still recording,
okay,
so just
I'll
cut.
start off for Park. Okay, so that's when you know where to cut. Okay. As well, oh, are you still recording?
Yeah,
as
it's
well
good.
as Mrs. Rob's handprint. Okay, ready? Stop.
Wait,
Bam.
wait.
Hi, beautiful.
Hi.
Hello. Okay.
Hi, beautiful.
I got 6 fingers. You see that?
Like a little alien. We only did one hand, right?
Number 6. Whatever. You're the investor. You tell me.